Hands and Feet project will forever be different because of you. With us on Project Red, Dr. Rob Murray.
When you boil it down, I'm in the field of transformational leadership, which is a little different from, thinking smarter, working harder. Jack and I come in and we do the work from the human side of an organization. Our organization is slowing everyone down and saying, hold on, the research actually shows that if you treat human beings really well, your company actually does way better. Bringing it back to the human being who goes to work, not just the work that needs human beings.
Welcome everyone. We're back here with another episode with Project Red. We're talking about people's purpose and where that meets perseverance. People who endeavor to do really amazing and huge things with passion. People who have climbed mountains and they've been in the valleys, they've been in the highs, but they've stuck to it and they've done some really cool things. And it's my honor and my joy today to have one of my good friends with us on Project Red, Dr. Rob Murray. Met Rob many years ago. And he has been involved with Hands and Feet Project down through time with various things. But just a joy to have you here today. And you and your wife, Natalie, and of course, going all the way back to when they were LaRue and, music and all that kind of fun. We go back a long way. But
a long way.
Thank you for being here.
You're
this
welcome.
Is so great.
You're welcome.
We got our other host, Patrick Austin, here too.
Yeah, excited to be here.
Yes.
Rob, welcome to Project Red.
Thank you.
Yeah, to start, we would love for you to just share a little bit about yourself and what drives your passion for leadership and transformation.
Man, I live in the world of leadership development. And what does that mean? Nobody quite knows, right? Depends on the latest book or whatever someone is saying at the next conference. But when you boil it down, I'm in the field of transformational leadership, which is how do leaders, teams, and organizations navigate deep change and transformation, which is a little different from, thinking smarter, working harder, give me some tips and tricks. I appreciate the tips and tricks, but we're looking for the movement into something more lasting, more significant. And so my work is a little bit more slower, more frustrating at times, but hopefully more meaningful in the long run.
Oh, that's killer.
Yeah.
I love that.
So you've got Transform Leader. Can you tell us some about that?
Yeah, my partner Jack and I, Jack Nicholson, not the actor. Jack and I have, we have an organization called Transformed Leader. And that's the container, right? All of us here, wherever you are, whoever you are expressing your life through various environments or at various tables. Or Transform Leader is one of those places where we get to kind of do this work. And we get to work with organizations across the country, helping individuals or those teams or those organizations just do things differently. So Transform Leader is there to help take issues like retention. Sometimes a company's going to let people off, or sometimes they're struggling to keep people, or sometimes we talk about culture. It's such a buzzword. We need a great culture. Well, Jack and I come in and we do the work from the human side of an organization. Now, if you are in a business and you clearly think about the people too much, you will become a nonprofit, which is not ideal for a business. But if you don't think about the people, it's going to cost money to lose them. So we're trying to look at an organization, a Transformed Leader, and say, what are the things you need so that when your people come to work every day, I don't know about you, but when you woke up today, I'm assuming that you wanted to live a somewhat meaningful life. Fair enough?
Amen. Yes.
And somewhere along the way, we go from human beings to human doings. And the organization says, if we just keep working, you will get whatever we need to make sure we make money, and off we go. But our organization is slowing everyone down and saying, hold on, the research actually shows, the science actually shows that if you treat human beings really well, your company actually does way better. And so we bridge that gap, bringing it back to the human being who goes to work, not just the work that needs human beings. Does that make sense?
That's
small
awesome.
nuance. It's a both end.
Yeah. Can we, okay, now, so you didn't get from all the way back till now overnight. So take us back on the journey. How did you get to this awesome thing that you're doing now? And like, where did that come from? How did God just put that in your DNA? Or I'm sure it's been a journey. It's been a long road that you've kind of been on, but give us some of your background and where you've come from.
Yeah. I always say I was born at a young age. I was real young. I was born in South Africa.
Yeah, I noticed your accent.
Yeah.
I'm reminded to say it's not Australian.
No, we're rivals on the cricket pitch, the rugby pitch. So that's really hurtful when you say that.
Yeah, there you go.
And they would feel hurtful being called South African. So we'll take it out with them on the sports field.
There we go.
But Will, when you and I got to meet first, I always thought I was being tortured at the intersection of the church world, and my faith. Social justice, social causes, and then the world of commerce. So you got business, you got the world of nonprofits, and you've got this world of churches, and I never knew where I fit. So I'm 45 now, so I used to say I'm halfway to the end of my life, but I'm thinking I'm a quarter of the way with AI. I'm sure I'm going to upload my brain to a chip or something here any day. So maybe just a quarter of the way there. But as I was journeying through my 20s and my 30s, I was so frustrated because I never felt like I belonged anywhere. And I was like, well, I could work really hard. I've worked for churches, and I've worked with nonprofits, and I've worked in businesses, and somewhere along the way, through a series of discovery, which you apparently do get with a little bit of wisdom and your frontal lobe growing, your brain, that helps. You start to put the pieces together. And I started to work out that maybe I'm not conflicted. Maybe I'm actually called by God to live at the intersection of those three different areas.
I love it.
And a bridge builder, perhaps, or someone who can kind of bring the best of this into that and this into there. And it wasn't because I was confused. It was actually because I was exercising these parts of who I am.
Yeah.
And so somewhere along the way, I was consulting with organizations. And yours was one of them too. I was able to work with you, and we were solving problems, and we were fixing them with structural answers and ways to impact the mission, and we were doing all that kind of stuff. And I sat down in a meeting one day with a gentleman called Jack Nicholson, who I'd mentioned was my partner, and he just saw something else in me. And he got me talking, and Jack's kind of like Gandalf. He looks like Gandalf. He feels like Gandalf. He's just got a spirit about him where he says less, and you just feel like, it's just really deep and meaningful. And somewhere in that moment, in that meeting, Jack looked at me through a series of slow, thoughtful promptings, and essentially said, do you know who you are? And the answer was, well, no, not really, but I'm really busy, and I'm going to keep doing the things that I'm doing, and I'm sure I'll figure out one day. And he said, what if you slow down and started to pay attention to who you truly are?
Wow.
And then how to express that in the world with your unique giftings, talents, and whatever God has done in your story. So that sent me away to start considering that. And one of the things, this is where it ends, is one of the things that I came back with is I said to Jack, and he helped me articulate some of this, but I realized more so than helping an organization thrive, I cared a lot more. I care about both, but I cared a lot more about the people in the organization that are making the organization thrive, which puts me on the human side of leadership, if that makes any sense.
No, that's great. That's fantastic. I mean, Hands and Feet project will forever be different because of you. You've left your DNA, your mark.
Yeah.
I mean, the way we interact with one another, our language, about our stakeholders, and about our programming, and how we care for kids and love our staff in Haiti. I mean, that's all different because of the exercise that
That's so
we
kind.
went through with you. No, I mean that. A lot of what you're experiencing with Project Red is because of you. I mean, it's
completely shaped the season.
It's led to this.
Wow.
And why we want to do things like this. So, and really have that relational piece, that connect with people, and definitely our listener out there.
You're humanizing the cause, right?
Wow.
And your heart behind it. So
well, thank you so much. Yeah, we want to be transparent always, and we want to show that we are truly passionate about this thing we do, you know?
Yeah.
And the passion leads more than I mean, we obviously want to have great results and,
Yeah.
and outcomes, and those things are up there, but also just taking someone on the journey with us and really caring about their transformation too, not a transaction. I think is one of the things you've said the best.
Yeah.
It's so important to not be transactional, but to be transformative. Like, we care about everyone who's on this journey with us, right? So that's
quick
cool.
fun fact, because you're triggering me. I'm like a
Go for it. I love it.
Well, and I'm a both and. Like, sometimes I don't mind transactions, but I like them within the context of a transformative process.
There you go.
Okay, it's a lot of words there, but when transactions is the foundation, well, then we feel like we're being used.
Yep.
But if I'm on a journey, of course, it requires a to-do list. It requires accountability. It requires transactions. But there's a little more than that, right? So, all right, I'll stop. I get excited.
No, I think it's great.
I mean, I would love to hear more about that. I mean, it sounds like there's some challenges in that to ride that line between those two.
There is an inciting event that got me in this room today, and you probably met my wife long before me when she was in music days, right?
Yeah.
Her and her brother running around.
Yeah, LaRue. That's right. They were amazing.
Yeah. So a story that I often tell about Natalie is she turned around one day and said to me, "We need to talk." And you can already feel the room just soften a little bit, and we're all getting a little bit more subdued. And I'm like, "Yeah, really, spit it out. What do you have to say?" She's like, "No, we need to make some time for that." And so you start thinking about anything and everything you've ever done and could ever do. And she sat me down on the bed, and she said, "You know, Rob, you're a good husband and you're a good dad. And you take care of us, and you're working so hard." And I think it was probably around the time I may have been working with you guys. Maybe it was your fault that this happened. Now that I think about it.
I'm sure it was.
Never made that. Thank you for. Okay, I'll think about that more later. But she said, "You know, you're working so hard for us," and she says, "But it's really lonely to be married to you."
Oh man.
And you kind of sit there, and this is answering your question. I was transactional. I was paying the bills. I was working really hard, furthering my education. I was taking care of kids, and I'm sure you love your kids. But when you got 4 young kids, you're just doing stuff all the time, like throwing snacks at them, and like you're trying to figure out how to survive certain days, and so forth. But somewhere along the way, she said, like, "How do I get my husband back?" And at the time, it was the most terrifying thing, because she was asking me for a transformative relationship in a season, though, that is very transactional as the nature of what that season is.
Sure.
It's more of survival, really. It's a game of survivor. Now, we did take responsibility for the children we had. I highly encourage you to do that. But it was still a lot.
Disclaimer.
It was still a lot. And so somewhere along the way, I looked, and the scariest part about what she said to me was that I didn't actually know what she was talking about, and I didn't know how to fix that. So when you're in leadership, sometimes we work with leaders, teams, and organizations. They're looking for a quick fix. Like, give me a book, give me this, give me that. And what she was asking for, I actually didn't even know what she meant. Like, what do you mean you're lonely with me? Which required me to have to start asking that question and go on a journey to get for myself I thought I could just go, all right, she needs this, and I could give it to her, and now she's not lonely with me. But when I realized I was lonely with myself, I was lonely with God, I was lonely in my friendships, and she was tapping into a reality of the need that I have to be a connected human being. And so I went on a journey to figure out, what does it mean to get something in my bank account instead of living off this credit card? And before you knew it, it was hard months, which turned into hard years, and you're filling your tank with oxygen, and now you're starting to breathe out onto the people, hopefully after you brush your teeth, but you're breathing out onto the people you love, and it's life, because you're bringing something you have to offer, and we're fighting for our marriage based on the love that I'm gaining from God and from self and from others, and that was a really powerful moment, but I was on a transformative change journey. And I was getting for myself the very things I wanted for others, instead of saying, well, let me prescribe that to you, or let me fix that. And fun fact, if anyone ever says they're lonely with you, it's very flattering. I've come to learn that.
Nice.
Okay, it's a very good thing, actually.
Good perspective.
Because you're only lonely with people you want more with.
That's true.
And so all that loneliness is saying is, I want more with you than what I'm getting, and I feel like there's a gap between what I hope for or what I want or what I need and what I'm getting.
I love that.
How cool is that? Do you know how many people aren't lonely with me?
Yeah.
Who don't want to get any more of me? And then I have a wife who's going, I want more of you.
Yeah.
I want to be more connected to you. So
Fantastic.
that was, I didn't know that at the time, but in years I've come to learn that.
I think that's amazing. We have spiritual formation and, weekly leadership meetings with our Haitian staff and all of that. And what I've come to figure is that it's out of the overflow that you can do kind of any of those well, right? When you're doing your hard work, which is not really hard work, it's just what you should be. You should be in relationship with God the Father. You should be spending a lot of time with him and his word and doing the exercises and doing your own self-care first. And then out of that overflow, really cool things can kind of come out. And that's been my experience anyway, that you could even kind of pretend to help some other situation or someone else, or be impactful to a leadership team in Haiti or our team here at Hands and Feet Project. So it starts with you and having your cup full, right? And then it overflows out. So I love that. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that. That was really cool.
You're welcome, Will. And you're tapping on into script. You brought up scripture, so I'll build on that. It's that when you think of the great commandment, it says to love God. And then as churches, if you go to a church website, they've got love God, love others.
Yeah.
And they've missed out on the bridge, because the Bible says love God, and then it says love others as you love yourself.
Yeah.
And we're so afraid. What if we become narcissistic, self-absorbed? We already are a culture that thinks about ourselves. And I'm like, well, I don't think it was talking about that. To love God, and out of your attempt to love God and understand who you are and the self-worth and value of who he made you, have some healthy pride and appreciation for who you are as a human being. And then now out of that, I see you. But I see you because I'm learning to see me, because I see the Father.
That's amazing.
And so I these days I'm learning to love myself. And I realize it's a lot easier to love others in an attempt to prove to myself I am lovable. And I'm tired of that. So I'm trying to really get in the flow of Scripture, and we'll see what happens. I'll let you know.
No, I love that. I think for a long time, the enemy had me captive in a place where I didn't think a lot of myself. And that a lot of people maybe listening right now are in the same spot. They don't think highly of themselves. They don't think they can do great things, or they can, move those mountains but God says just the smallest amount of faith and belief in yourself and understanding. I use this a lot. I'll bring my wife into the conversation too. I always say, I hope that you can see me and all the possibilities that God sees me. When God looks at us, he sees endless amount of possibilities, right? And outcomes, and endless amount of things that he can do with us, because he's doing it, right? Yeah. It's not in our own strength, not in our own, like you said, we're not reading a book, we're not working out, we should do some of those things, obviously, but it's not for the end result of trying to reshape ourselves. Only God can reshape ourselves, I think. So we're on the journey together there, I think. All of us are. I've been talking to this guy a lot too. He's young, married, and
got
new
a
baby.
3-month-old, and getting back into the swing of
gosh.
life, going back into work, and just figuring out hours and who's watching what kid, and it's a lot to figure out, and just trying to find time for each other, in ourselves in the middle of all of that. It's a huge season that we're trying to learn from and grow together in.
So relevant. It is, absolutely.
A little too fresh.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, cool.
So you talk a lot about, these personal journeys. I mean, you've told some about, your own experience. When you're approaching organizations, what are some of the challenges that you're seeing, and how do you kind of navigate those things?
No, you never have challenges with organizations, do you?
No. We're killing it out there. It's amazing.
I mean, they're easy, right?
Yeah. Well, the larger an organization gets, the more obscure things become, the more transactional stuff does happen. There's more process. I was in New York last week with an organization, 75,000 people. It's like an empire.
Whoa.
So you think I'm working with one team, and then you're thinking they're spread out across the globe. And so an organization like that is really hard. So you're coming into you ask challenges. The challenges of that is what we're doing in this team. It may not cascade outside of this team. And I think it was Peter Block. He's an old. Well, I don't know if he's old. Sorry, Peter, if you're out there. I'm not sure how old you are. But your book was awesome. But he says something like, when we're in a huge environment or a community or culture, he says it's easy just to throw your tools and go, you know what, I'm just going to show up, punch the clock, and go home.
Yeah.
But he said something to the effects of, what if you could create within your own organization the part that you do have control over? So your own unit or your own team or your own area of responsibility. What if you could create the very culture that you hope to see embodied throughout the whole organization? Wow. So instead of being a victim, I'm a part of this organization and no one sees me and no one cares, that actually could be true. It's very true. So some of the challenges are, some organizations are just there to use you, okay? You didn't sign up for a family, so that's fair. They are offering you a job, and the exchange is, will you do what we say, and we will pay you a paycheck, and then when we change our minds and decide it works differently, you get to say yes, no, or maybe, or we get rid of you. So there's this social exchange. Yeah. But Peter says, how do I create within my own organization the very culture I want to see elsewhere? Which empowers you enough to say, well, my little team of 5, in the middle of this company of 500, we're going to create the very ethos and culture we want. And before you know it, it's that spark, which may be snuffed out, but it also may not. It may catch wildfire.
Yep.
And before you know it, it starts to light up other parts of the organization. What are you guys doing over there in sales? Or what are you doing over there with that department at Hands and Feet? Like, what's going on down there? And before you know it, everyone's starting to build on the passion of what you've got. And so that ties into the challenges I'm seeing, which are, leaders feel unseen. They feel unappreciated. They feel alone. Yep. They feel fragmented, like they're kind of half in, half out. There are some of them are self-medicating. We're staying busy. We're medicating with technology. You name it. Any medication. Denial is an amazing drug of mine. I just pretend it didn't exist, and that seems to work for a while. So there's so many things that we're using. Yeah. And as a result, we're going to work, coming home, and we're not feeling like our work mattered, but we're kind of forced to go back to work and punch the clock again. Yeah. And so companies are struggling, leaders are struggling, and then I work at that intersection of helping when either a leader comes out sideways or people want to reactively or proactively show up to some of these underlying issues that are kind of simmering below the surface. Proactive work is funner because it's like you're not cleaning up on aisle 5. Yep. But honestly, we all need to show up to our lives at some point, and if we don't, it usually has a way. Gravity is a lot to work with, and it'll usually help us get to reality at some point.
Yeah, this reminds me of the quote about leaders: is they're usually on an island and it's lonely at the top, right? Yeah. And so you've just keyed in on that. I can't believe that you can do that tough work in that space. That's a cool one.
And the higher you get, the more walls and the less you distrust people, and the less you distrust everything, the more walls you build. Yeah. But you can't get out yourself. Like you wall yourself in. So we're all guilty of that. I mean, all across the church, the nonprofit world, the business world, even in our homes and our family systems, we're all building these places to feel safer. And in doing so, also, we risk alienating ourselves and others.
I love it.
So how do you even begin?
I don't love that, by the way. I know you do. But
No, I didn't love what you said, but I love that that's a real issue that you're seeing and that hopefully people can then address. Yeah, that's what I mean.
I mean, so when they're addressing those issues, like what's the reality of starting that process to recover from feeling isolated? And
I mean, pain is a great motivator. Okay. It's terrible. There's that thing in your life right now, like the one time I always talk about when I had 3 gym memberships and I was never going to any. And I kept buying another one to think like it would shame me into going. And then at some point your body, you go on, like I go do the Tough Mudder with my son and the whistle blows, and then about not even a quarter mile in, like he's running backwards, looking at me while I can barely breathe. And he's like, come on, Dad, you got this. And I'm like, I don't got this. And so, off he runs. I said, run, Noah. I don't even want to look at you. So my father-son trip turned into my son running way ahead and me running 10 miles alone. Well, that's a pretty good motivator for 10 miles of running going, I haven't taken care of my body.
Yeah.
I am not fit and healthy, and it is costing me an experience with my son. Then he sat at the finish line. He'd probably been there for a couple hours by the time I got there. And he's cheering me across the line, So I'm doing the walk of shame, and we get our photograph. But pain is a good motivator. It's a terrible motivator. But when things get so hard, we've done enough laps, and the wheels just come off. So that typically will force an organization to pick up the phone and go, hey, we need something.
Yep.
That's real. Also, sometimes when you have a vision that's far greater than a strategy, or you look around at the things you've been doing and you realize, well, if we add up everything we're doing and how we do it, and then we look at that vision, there's a gap. And so sometimes we can just see the gap, and then people reach out. Like, what does it look like to bridge that gap? Yeah. And so that happens in a friendship, in a community. You guys in Haiti, I mean, you are seeing it. You have an unbelievable vision. I mean, seeing the vision grow and grow and grow, and then you look around and go, all right, let's get our strategy to where it needs to be. And you work on that, and you tirelessly work on that. And then you look around and say, okay, cool. Now, how do we fuel this strategy? And so you're looking for all the building blocks, and it's normally because something is hard or something is making you go to sleep at night just wishing you could stay up another 3 hours to work towards it. And then you wake up the next day and say, we got it. It's like a healthy anger. We have to do something. We have to do something. So that motivates too, healthy anger.
Oh, I'm sure.
Amazing. I love all that. That's so cool.
Yeah, we're talking a lot about ascent this month. And that kind of ties right into this. It's some of those people that are finding themselves at the base of that mountain, and they're looking up at it. And I think that's where maybe you are finding a lot of these organizations or these, personal stories where maybe it's just that first step to start climbing that mountain. Yeah. I mean, that feels like that plays so much into what we want to talk about and what we want to encourage people on.
No, I mean, a little bit of context is there's a saying in Haiti, behind mountains are more mountains. And you just illustrated very well the struggle that Hands and Feet has in ascending one mountain, just to get to another one. Yeah. And Mark and I got to share about a lot of the obstacles, that Hands and Feet has been through, and the triumphs too, know. And they're both in this, on anyone's journey, you encounter both. So this idea of ascending, I guess for someone out there who just maybe doesn't even know where to start, when they've got a challenge or as you think of a mountain, it's climbing, but it's like straight up and it's really hard, really difficult, That's kind of the idea. Maybe we're trying to understand how to get someone just to, like you said, you had the 3 gym memberships, but it wasn't until you went on that run. I went on a Tough Mudder with my son too. It's pretty amazing when you couldn't really keep up with him and you're just kind of like, okay, I'm going to get my butt in shape now, So, for someone out there trying to climb this mountain and they're trying to ascend over something in their life, I guess is maybe more of the context. How would you take that on?
I mean, if you're going to ask me today to go climb a mountain, what are we all going to say? Why?
Yeah.
Like why?
Yeah, what's your why?
Because, I'm watching Netflix, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. And those may be distractions. And you may be like, well, it's going to be awesome. And your enthusiasm will only go so far.
Yeah.
Okay. So people are motivated for different reasons. But one of the big reasons is why, which is in our work is soul. It's like, give me the meaning and purpose behind this mountain. Like, what's at the top?
Yeah.
The strength. And so our leadership model is all built on heart, soul, mind, and strength, which is the great commandment. And so we bring that into corporate America. And so if I've got to climb a mountain, I need you to sell me on heart, soul, mind, or strength. And all of us are wired a little differently. But the why is soul. Like, why? Why am I climbing a mountain? So you got to invite people into a vision for their lives that's greater than the one that they're living. right? I'm sitting here today. I'm watching again. Maybe I'm not watching Netflix. I'm actually trying to be on a digital fast for 28 days. So we'll
Good
figure out.
job. Nice.
So we're needing meaning and purpose to get up and start climbing the mountain. But maybe someone just needs a logical reason. You know what? At the top of the mountain is this and that, and it makes sense for you to climb the mountain. They're like, oh, okay, cool. I'm going to get up there. Maybe someone needs the motivation from the strength quadrant, and they're like, you know what, you're going to get fit and you're going to do something. And when you get to the top, we're going to give you a flag and you're going to hold it up and you're the winner. And
medallion.
You're going to medallion. And I'm like, yeah, I'm in. Like, for real. Like, that's cool. And then maybe down in the heart quadrant, like we're sitting at the base of that mountain and you're like, we're all going to do it together. We're going to get to the top and we're going to have celebrated together. And I am motivated by heart, by connection, by community, by culture.
You won't believe the little special pretty flowers that are up there.
Yeah. There are. That's amazing. So you feel, the heart people want to feel like we're doing something. The soul people want to understand why they're doing it. The mind people need it to make sense. Yep. And the strength people want to make sure that their whole body is going to be a part of that. So if you're out there now being called up a mountain, you're asking some of those questions.
I love that.
And it'll draw you in to kind of get out there. I almost want to hope, though, that either way, somehow someone's going to push you and force you, which is probably the strength people. They're like, get out there. And they just leave you in the wilderness and you have no other choice but to climb the mountain.
Yeah, that actually is, the next question we're kind of leading into is about momentum. And how do people stay engaged, or how do they keep the momentum going? How do they, once they take the first step and they're on their journey, what's the fuel, or what's the source of their strength, or all those things? How do they keep that momentum going if they're trying to do something like that? Yeah,
you're so spot on. So in this idea of transformational leadership or moving through your life or momentum and all that kind of thing, that to me does tie into the larger vision specifically, like going to the gym. I don't want to go to the gym. I still don't want to go to the gym. Like, nobody's like, ooh, you know what I want to do today is go to the gym, except for those of you who know who you are.
Mark just said he's going to the gym a second ago. Wow. So he's one of those rare anomalies that loves the gym.
So that could be true. Or you go to the gym because there's something far greater than the gym that you want.
Yeah, it's totally true.
But the gym requires you to get there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to go. I want a more connection I don't want to be left behind in my relationship with my son. So I need to get my body to the place where it is so I can stay in a relationship with my kids, my family, my friends. I want to go climb mountains. So I go to the gym. So the question is, when you're climbing this mountain, what is the thing beyond the mountain? That climbing the mountain is a means to what? A meaningful, fulfilling life with people who share in a common goal, vision, purpose, and meaning. Whatever it is. But those things are important to me and most other people.
No, I love it. And great mission statement.
And if I have to climb the mountain to get that, then that's cool. I mean, it's kind of a bummer. It's a mountain. I wish it was buy tacos and go sit at the beach.
Yeah, I wish it was rolling downhill. And
that would be
really
real nice.
Going up.
So for me, it's like, man, what is the story behind the activity? And so if you're out there today going, man, I looking at this mountain, it's big. How do I get momentum? You need to put the vision on the board.
Yep.
You need to put something far greater than the mountain, because halfway through that hike and you're up there, you're going to have doubts. You're going to have testings. You're going to have trials. You're going to get bitten by a snake. You're going to fall down the side of the cliff. A mountain lion's going to stalk you. Who knows? And if it's in Africa, that
sounds like a great
way
movie.
Worse. Yeah, exactly. And so when all those things are coming at you, you're going to look at each other and go, no. This is part of it. This is part of climbing the mountain. But we're headed to somewhere. This is part of getting to the life we want to get to.
Yeah.
And so that's where that greatest story ties in.
Yeah, we've hopefully we're doing this well at Hands and Feet Project. And you encouraged us last year when we did some stuff with you. But it's always keeping that vision out in front. Knowing why you come to work every day. Hands and Feet's caring for vulnerable children, their families, and their communities. It's not just another paycheck. It's not, just a stop on your whatever little journey you're on or whatever. But it's got to mean more than that. It's got to, and we want people, on the journey with us that care a lot more than just for the basic things. So keeping the vision out in front, and in Haiti especially with our leaders there, and all the people who come on our campus to care for kids and and do all the things, just wanting them to have a deeper reason to show up on the campus every day. So that's been transformative for us. So
good.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
then Will, to add, because it pairs with what you just said. So you wake up and you have a vision for your organization, but then if you're listening and you're part of championing this cause, what is the vision you have for your life and your family and your legacy as it relates to your support for the vision of the Hands and Feet Project? Because I also woke up this morning caring about your vision, and people are inherently grounded from a place of self. I woke up today in my home with my family, with my life.
Yep.
And I want every person waking up to have a sense of the vision that they have for their lives and their home, which thankfully so happens to be included into yours. You're giving me the opportunity to live out the vision I have for my life. You're offering me that. And so sometimes we in all of our companies or our organizations, we sell the vision of what we do, but we shortchange the opportunity to look at every person in the world and say, we can offer you a place to belong and a life to matter. And I really hope that where you want to belong and the kind of life you want to live overlaps with us. And if it does,
lines up.
Let's have an amazing time.
Yeah.
And somebody will say, that was, no thanks. I'm not a fan of you or not a fan of your cause. And you can say, gosh, thanks for stopping by. It's a big world. If it's not us, it better be someone else, or else we're getting into the Dead Sea where water is flowing in and nothing flows out, and then salt content goes up, and it's really water good for nothing. So
yeah, that's right.
That two-part part of it, your vision for the organization, my vision for my life and family, comes together. Oh my gosh, now we're climbing a mountain.
That's serious synergy.
That's momentum right there. Synergy is the right word.
Amen. I love that.
Yeah.
So great. Boom.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we keep talking about endeavor at Hands and Feet Project. That is our word for the year. I would love to know a little bit about your endeavor for 2025.
Woo.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
Nothing like a big one there, like just a grandiose go anywhere with that one.
What is my endeavor for 2025?
Goals?
Lottery. Oh no, sorry.
Love
I
it.
don't know where that falls in the church rule book, the lottery, but when I saw it hit $1 billion the other day, I was like, wow, someone's going to have a good time. All right, back to the question.
Yeah.
Say a little more, because I want to make sure, what is my endeavor for this year?
Yes. Your goals, your purpose, what is the thing that you're hoping to accomplish this year?
I've been working for the last 5 years. I'm probably what they call an action researcher. I'm not deep in research, but I'm also not a deep practitioner. I want to study things, to understand them, to learn them, to put them into models and create languages that people can use, shared language. Coming to your country, I was mocked for my accent, so I speak a little more American now. But when I'd say water, I'd say that, but I'd say water and whatever else. But I share all that. I digressed. My endeavor for this year is to come out of the cave of the last 5 years, where I've been doing a lot of research and a lot of in the field learning. And I'm beginning to put it all together so that I can invite others to take what we've learned and apply it to their own lives and their own context. Mm-hmm. And so the idea is to multiply the stuff that I've been adding the last 5 years. I've been doing addition.
Yep.
Right.
So that I could make sure it works. And now I'm like, wow, what would it look like for this work in my field? The different models and assessments and the books and the resources and the tools. What would it look like for that to be able to be more accessible to more people? Because the front door, I'm creating front doors to my work. There was only like a basement, and it's like a dark basement with books and just a lot of coffee, and then going out and then coming back and being a mad scientist. But Jack and I are now hoping that this year our greatest endeavor will be to create front doors and porches for people to come and sit and decide if they want to walk through those doors.
I love it.
And then bring it back to their own lives, to their own organizations, to their own teams, to their own friendships, their marriages, and so forth. So we'll see. I'll let you know how it goes.
Oh my gosh, that's huge.
Yeah, I mean, if there's someone or an organization that's interested in that, how are they getting in touch with you? I mean, what's the
Craigslist.
best way to do that? Yes. Knew it.
Craigslist.
It's just one way.
It's just one.
So
One of
I'm
many.
always selling a couch, just trying to make friends out there.
That's front porch material. Yeah, yeah. You need the
Exactly.
couch for the front porch. Oh, shoot.
I always say, to the first step is just to reach out and say, hey. And so whether it's, I try not to sell a bill of goods. In my field, it's large enough that we're not a one-trick pony. Life is not that simple. I wish A plus B equals C. I live in a different world that's a little bit more complicated. It's more systemic.
Way more complicated.
But I'm trying to simplify it. But I would just say, hey, if you're waking up today and you're a human being who is looking for more in your life and you're not sure what that looks like, and you want to apply that at work, or there's parts of home or parts of your faith or parts of your organization, I think you just say, hey, we need to navigate change, or I need something different, or we just want someone to set the table and guide us through a process from moving from A to B or wherever it is. I think just saying something is the first step. So you could reach out to me, reach out to Will, you could reach out to Craigslist, you could reach out to whoever you need to, like I said. But in the end, I think for us is to get off the couch and,
That's right.
and make a choice. It's the first step to the life you want. And so I kept that real vague, but if you want more, I can offer you more.
We can put the website up or something.
Yeah,
we want
easy.
people to be able to find you. But being in motion is a lot easier to steer than sedentary. So I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So how can we further support and pray for your efforts?
I think we're on the cusp, and I'd said this earlier with our endeavor, we're on the cusp of trying to figure out what we want to do when we grow up.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah, and I don't think we ever arrive. And even though we climb a mountain, you're right, in Haiti, there's another mountain, and there's another mountain.
Yep.
You could pray that our organization, that we don't lose sight of the journey we're on, and that we appreciate the valleys when we get them, and the trees with shade. And we also make the most of, climbing some of those cliff faces and those times that we're lost over the next year or two, as we get lost trying to come out of the basement into the real world, that God would send guides for us, that he would bring clarity and clear the clouds on the days that are a little bit more confusing. If you don't get lost, you're probably not leaving home enough. So some days we feel lost.
Yep.
Some days we feel unsure. And it's in those days that I want to remember the greater why. So just that the Lord would keep the why in focus, send people for the good days and the bad days. We won't miss the beautiful views when we walk right by them.
Yep.
And then more specifically, that some of the tools and resources we're working on for organizations like yours, and others would be really good and meaningful and helpful. Not because it's for our glory, but it's because what we feel called to do and what we feel passionate about. So there's a lot of prayer. Just take the day off and maybe.
Love that. Yeah, definitely. No, I mean, dude, you've left, like I said, you left your mark on the Hands and Feet Project, and we've been really blessed to have you here today and all that you shared. I mean, my gosh, I'm going to watch this podcast over and over.
Thanks.
Over and over again and pass it around a lot, because you just can cut to the heart of the matter so great and so easily. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Rob Murray, Dr. Rob.
Thank you.
Well, thank you to everyone that chose to listen to this. I hope you feel encouraged and that you're taking something away. As a reminder, we are Project Red. It's where purpose and perseverance collide. And we're excited to see how people's lives are being transformed as they approach these mountains. If you liked this episode, feel free to like, share, subscribe, and tune in for all of our future podcasts.
Awesome.
Thank you. At Hands and Feet Project, we believe in the power of prayer and community.
Awesome.
If you want to stay updated, sign up for our newsletter, Connected in Rhythm.
Yeah, it's cool. If you're on there, you'll get all these really neat emails from us talking about our programs. Next month, we're going to be talking about preserving families. We're trying to grow that program substantially this year, up in Cap, like 40 new families, and down in Jacmel and Grand Guava, 160. So it's a lot of families that we're going to be coming alongside and supporting during this time in Haiti when it's so tough. These programs are standing in the gap and they're making all the difference. So keep up with us in the newsletter as we care for vulnerable children, their families, and their communities all over Haiti. Thank you, guys.
Visit handsandfeetproject.org to stay connected and move in rhythm with us as we serve vulnerable children, families, and communities.